April 2015 account manager or just basic accounting call. Glad that we're in the habit of doing these. On my screen here, you should see the quote that I wanted to get started with. Most of you know who Michael Jordan is. I am not a huge fan of his because he my jazz several times, but I really like this quote from him. If you can't read it, I'm going to read it to you anyway. It says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost over 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and miss. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. I really like that quote because one of the things that Michael Jordan is known for is his drive for perfection. And I think a lot of times we let our own fear of failure stop us from really trying or giving it our all. It's easier to hedge our bets or not really buy in because we don't want to come up on the short end of the stick. We don't want to be embarrassed by our mistakes. And I think it's important that we always go for it. Hopefully we do it intelligently and ask questions and everything, but don't be afraid of mistakes because I promise you I probably make more mistakes on a daily basis than all of you. And that's how I learn. I am a slow learner. So don't be afraid by that. Don't be embarrassed by mistakes. It's how we learn and grow. It's how you're eventually going to succeed. Sometimes our biggest failures can lead to our biggest successes. So those are all my fortune cookie wisdom. All right. Now we're going to go to Dilbert. Dilbert, I think it's funny. It's not the best copy. I apologize. I know a lot of times we kind of feel this way. People around us don't necessarily know what we're doing, so they kind of think that we're worthless, useless. So I thought that was appropriate. I've already talked briefly about sports, so I won't bore you anymore with there. Quick Survivor update. Joe, who I like the most, but I knew if I get voted off, was. I apologize if you're a week behind. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins. Okay, so just one more quick reminder before we get into the housekeeping to type your name and property if you have not already done so in the chat log. You've just joined us, so you get credit for attending. Okay, so item number one with the housekeeping for the accounting is when you're participating in these calls or joining it, we're really trusting that you'll take the information we give you and go back to your sites and pass it along. Obviously, hopefully, if it's useful, you don't keep it to yourself. We want you to really kind of spread our message and help get buy-in on the site level. Hopefully, we never put you in a position where you feel like you're in opposition to everyone else, but things like when we show you demos of new products, etc., pass that along. Policy, same type of thing. We're really relying on you to help spread the word on those type of items. So that leads right into my next one, which is something we happen to mention, I think, just about every month, but I'm still seeing it happen, which is please, please, please do not share your logins. It is a very, very big deal. It can be grounds for a write-up, disciplinary action, or termination if you do it. So I don't want to overemphasize it, but it's a pretty big deal. So please make sure everyone on your site knows that. We very specifically monitor people's access for auditing purposes and liability. So just remember, anyone who uses your login, you are responsible for their actions. So please be careful with that and let everyone know the same thing. I don't want to have to keep mentioning this, but without fail, I get at least one notification during the month that people are sharing logins. So try to come off my soapbox for that one. The next point is we've started a process where I'm actually reviewing all of our open RealPage tickets. So we have a primary portal where I can log in and see all the open tickets along with some case notes. I've already started this process. Some of you may have already spoken with me or I've reached out to you about tickets that I've seen. The purpose is I want to make sure that your tickets are being addressed in a timely manner. I want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. I don't have a definite number in front of me, but I would guess that 20 to 35% of all of our tickets simply fail as RealPage asks for a follow-up question. We never get back to them. And so it just kind of sits in limbo. So I'm really trying to cut down. So I will be monitoring those and going through them, probably reaching out to you, just trying to make sure that everything gets taken care of in a timely fashion, like I said. If you have a ticket that you've opened and you don't feel it's getting anywhere, please let me know. Send me the ticket number. It's the SF number. Send me the ticket number, and I will do my best to escalate it and make sure that the correct information is passed along. Now, I sent an email about this last month probably to some of you. Not for everybody, but as you're going through and entering tickets, please be careful how you are prioritizing. We were getting a bit of a problem where everyone was marking their tickets as emergency, and every issue is important, obviously, but there are levels, and we were getting a bit of a reputation as boy who cries wolf with some of the software people. So please, try to use your discretion on that. Not everything is an emergency, unfortunately, even if it is important. If you have any questions, let us know, but just use your brain a little bit with that if you could. And one last thing for housekeeping, Kanan sent an email last week, well actually it might have been earlier this week, days just blend together for about Lync actually updating to Skype soon due to merge with Microsoft. And so you might get some software update in the next 2 days. It hasn't already happened, where Lync kind of goes away and Skype replaces it. It should have the same functionality. But if you have any concerns about it, please reach out to Help Desk, and we'll do whatever we can to address those concerns. All right, that's all I had for housekeeping to start with. So now what I want to do, assuming Kanan hasn't disconnected, I'm going to turn control of the screen over to him, and he's going to run through a few items for you. Some exciting new changes we have done company-wide. Are you there, Kanan?
I am.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and change the presenter to you.
Sounds great.
All right, you should be the presenter if you want to share your screen.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, everyone. Hope everyone's doing good. I've got just a few things to go over with the Office 365. It's kind of one of the first times I get to run through all this for you guys, but I'm going to go through the new file library. I'm going to go through SharePoint and site-related property stuff, and then I'm also going to go through OneDrive a little bit. So let's start here. If you go to portal.office.com and sign in, this will take you to your, maybe sign in. Take you to the main splash page. This is where you can get to everything in Office 365 if you're not already familiar with this. So we'll start with the main Horizon page, which is where the file library is hosted. If you go to Team Sites, take you to this main wonderful page here. Under Departments, you're going to see Horizon Resources. The file library is now called Horizon Resources rather than File Library. Just click on that. You should have access to everything in here to pull and see the way you need. Going back to the main Horizon page, you'll see the properties here, and I'm using Coot Housing because they seem to be using it quite a bit. So this is SharePoint here. I think I've gone over this a little bit before, but this is the sites. Each of you have your own site that I've created for collaboration and documents. As you can see, it's all stored in the cloud. You can access this from anywhere. It's really, really great. Also, things still work the way they used to with File Library. If you click on the File Library from the HorizonRA.com page, you still will be brought straight to the Horizon Resources page. So if you're used to using it that way, feel free to continue to do it. Last but not least is the OneDrive. So everyone has their own OneDrive to each of your accounts. It's a terabyte of storage. Please feel free to save anything you want into the documents area here. Again, this can be accessed from anywhere. A terabyte of storage, and then you don't run the risk of losing it if your computer crashes. You can share anything in here. Anything you create in the documents section is private until shared. You do have a shared with everyone folder that people can access, so don't put anything in there, or delete it if you want. And then whenever you share something, so if you go to the ellipsis, select share, and type Clint here, you can just share it with whoever you want within our organization. Once that's shared, you'll go to shared with me. And so vice versa, if Clint was to share something with me, I would go into shared with me and you'd see it there and have full access to it. So the main thing to remember is portal.office.com. You can access it all from here, SharePoint, OneDrive, and then the file library is under SharePoint or horizonra.com. So that's about it for me.
Great.
I think that was a pretty quick run through.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So I'm going to give this back to you.
All right, I'm going to switch that presenter back to me here. All right, so another reason that we are excited about this project is it's given us a chance to really clean up the file library and we had some duplicate files. We had a lot of empty folders, a lot of difficulty navigating that. So we're really hoping that this will help with that problem, as well as permissions. If you have access to one, you're going to have access to everything. All right, quick reminder, if you don't have yourself muted, please mute yourself. We're getting a little bit of feedback.
Sorry, that's probably me. I got my mail lady here.
No.
I'm talking next.
Not a problem. Okay, so that does lead us to our next one. CJ has agreed to talk to us about the role of confidence in doing your job in our position. So we're excited to have him do this. Do you need me to, do you have anything that you want to share on the screen, or you just want to do?
No, I'll just kind of talk.
Perfect. All right, well, time is yours. Thanks.
Thank you. So Canyon went a lot quicker than I expected, but that's good. Just want to thank you all for being here. So confidence in the role of accounting. Pretty much I want to talk to you about the process, your accounting process from the start of the month through month end, and then also confidence in talking to your customers. So I was pretty lucky when I came into my accounting role. I had Mike, Powell, and Lori both available to me to kind of walk me through the process and the monthly kind of daily tasks. So my suggestion to everybody is that you kind of get with people in your area and figure out on a day-to-day basis what you should be doing depending on local laws and things that deal with like evictions. We actually down in Oregon would have monthly accounting meetings where we could all discuss issues that might come up at an individual property where one person might have experienced an issue and the other person had a resolution for it. And by having a monthly call, we could share those items so that everybody could hear, a resolution to an issue that they might be having where you might feel that maybe it was a dumb question to ask when really there is no dumb questions to ask. So a lot of confidence is just being able to admit that you need help, that you need guidance and support. In my personal experience, so many different ways I've asked for help. I've always went to Clint or help desk. I was really close with Sue, my corporate accountant, and anywhere from fixing an account ledger to refunding money, if I wasn't sure about the process, I would generally shoot an email over to either one of those. They would give me the steps or the necessary steps to perform the task. I would save that email, and then for future ones, I could always look that email back up and go through that process again and try it myself. And if I wasn't confident at that point in time in doing the process, I would kind of record my steps and then just confirm with my accountant that I did perform the task properly. So a lot of it's just kind of staying organized, being willing to ask for help, and stepping out there and trying it yourself. And it applies to so many different places in the accounting process. In dealing with customers, you are their money source. You are the person that they submit their money to. You're the one that's going to evict somebody if they're not paying rent on time. And you pretty much have control over their rent. So you have to be confident when talking to your customers. If somebody's got a balance due and they're not responding to your frequent letters, they're avoiding phone calls, I found it best to go do a walk and knock. Usually I would take somebody with me just to confirm that there were 2 people there. And at that time, when you walk and knock, they'll typically answer the door if they've been avoiding you. As long as you're firm with them, you set dates, you follow up, you're pretty much going to get the result that you're looking for as far as collecting money. Another area where that applies is doing final move-out inspections. With final account statements, the trend is that, you know, the maintenance supervisor or some of the maintenance people will walk the apartment, hand over the damages to the accountant for the accountant to process the final account statement, and then without any kind of sight or knowledge about what was actually going on in the apartment. When I took over at Chase Village, I changed that process for me, and I physically walked every move-out with our maintenance supervisor. And that, I mean, that's 256 move-outs over the summer. But by doing so, when I was charging damages to a resident's account where it was taking money from their deposit, I was confident in the fact that if I got a phone call about the charges that were applied, that I could explain to them what I found, tell them that there were 2 people in the apartment that viewed the same thing, and deal with the issues then. At most times, you know, they call and be very aggressive, demanding their money back. When you're confident in your charges and you've seen the damages that took place, then you come across as, you know, you can put them at ease knowing that they're not being taken advantage of. Always, I mean, you can always work with somebody if they really feel like they were taken advantage of, but in your own mind, you know that you were right. And at that point, your customer will get that sensation or that sense that you did walk the apartments, that they're not being duped in that process. So really confidence it's throughout the whole process. One way to help develop confidence is by cross-training employees, and I recommend that you get your property manager's approval on that, especially if there's been issues with audits and stuff. But when you learn how to take a credit card payment, I mean, that's probably a pretty basic thing. You can teach your leasing staff how to do that, or your leasing manager how to do that. You can teach your managers how to perform the month-end process, and by you teaching them that process, it's going to help you define your role in that and help you define your confidence there. There's just, yeah, I mean, there's just so many ways to help build your confidence and how to present it best. Sorry, I was a little lost. Yeah, so I guess if there's any questions or just let me know. Basically, utilize all your resources, work with people in your area, utilize Help Desk and Spiceworks. Definitely get together with your team and figure out the best ways to narrow down your role and help each other understand your role. And that's just going to build up your self-confidence in performing the accounting tasks. So if I lost any of you, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's what I have for you.
Thank you.
So
that's great. Everyone, CJ actually did type up a summary as well, so I'll make sure each of you have a copy of that so that you can see his highlights from his portion. So I appreciate that, CJ. I know people like a break from hearing me talk about my random topics.
No worries.
All right. Well, thanks. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about before I'm going to release you all to go back and do your jobs is the implementation we're doing on a lot of our RealPage sites of transfer and midterm packets. This is a newer development that we're excited about. Previously, we only had the ability to do move-in packets and renewal packets where residents could sign online or actually have it generate correctly. RealPage has now released a transfer packet that will work with transfers and a midterm packet that will actually be used for any changes you have to paperwork. Both of those are going to allow you to be able to go online to sign it, or the residents rather. So it's a really good option for each of you. So I'm starting to go through each of your sites to roll that out. I've already rolled out on a few properties. Venue, Colony, Stadium Park should be up pretty quick here. So I'm going to reach out with you after I do each one and make sure that the site is comfortable with the functionality. But I think it's going to really help us to capture signatures for things so we can have less paperwork kind of just pending up in the office. Really quickly, I wanted to show you exactly what it looks like. So with the transfer paperwork, one of the issues we had in the past is the transfer, there was no way of actually making transfer paperwork that was accurate. But now once you enter a transfer request in for a resident, we'll do a quote, which lease is expired, okay.
Are you meaning to show something?
Is it not showing?
No. Well, I can't see it.
Oh, there you go. Thanks. All right, can you guys see it now?
Yeah.
All right, perfect, thanks. Sorry, give me 1 second here. Develop a new quote. All right, so you're going to go through the transfer feature for somebody, and you're going to, select all the appropriate information, the dates, the rates, and everything else. And once you're done, it's going to actually automatically trigger the creation of a transfer packet. So go through the confirmation process. Confirm. Really hope that RealPage is actually responsive. Okay. All right, so now they're on notice with the transfer. If you were to look under their Docs tab, there's going to be a transfer packet now that has been created. And it functions just like move-in, just like renewal. It's going to have all these different ones. The dates are going to automatically populate with the correct dates that you selected. Go ahead and generate the forms that you want to generate. Save time, I'm just going to do the lease. Now, the only field that's not going to be able to automatically populate with transfer is the new unit number and the new unit address. So as you generate the forms, it's going to ask you just to provide that. Hit save, and then it's just going to go ahead and process it just like anything else. The nice thing about this packet compared to the other one is once you have the forms complete, you can actually click to send an email notification to the resident to let them know that they have something waiting for them. A lot of times transfers and midterm packets are not necessarily expected, so you need to let them know to go onto their portal and sign up for it. So now from the resident's point of view, they just have to go on to the same place where they would renew their lease or to pay rent online. And right here, it will say complete your transfer request, and it will give them a chance to read their paperwork, in this case just the one. Sorry, as you can see, we're all at the mercy of RulePage's speed. Okay, so it went ahead and generated all of them from a previous one, but you just go through and you accept it just like you normally would. And then you go through it from there. And then once you did that, it would show just like a renewal where it said that an ESA signature had been applied. You just have to countersign it at that point and process it like normal. So it works really well with the workflow. I'm not going to show you the midterm one, but it would work very similar. It's very similar to the flexibility packet for the old transfer packet, so that when you create a midterm packet, all the key information, the dates, the rates, the unit number, is going to be keyed by you, so you can use it for a lot of different situations, and actually have the residents log into their portal to view it, just like we did, and they can sign it. So it's going to be pretty useful for a lot of different situations, especially student housing. If you have renewal transfers, the midterm packet will be the one that you'll want to use to actually go onto the portal to have them be able to sign it. So like I said, once I have your property live, I will reach out to you to make sure that you guys are comfortable with its use, with its customization for your site, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all I wanted to quickly sprint through today. We're right at the 30-minute limit. Again, my last reminder, please type your name and your property in the chat log if you have not already, so I can make sure you get credit for attending. I appreciate everybody for taking the time out of your day to join this call. If you guys have any feedback or topics you want covered, anything like that, please let me know so that I can make sure to include it under the agenda for next month. Any materials, same thing. I'll make sure they get out to you. But thanks again, everybody. I appreciate your guys' hard work. Let us know, the accounting department, if there's anything we can do to help you succeed in your job. That's what we really strive for. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.